Here's another very basic video. This was made for my family, so this is just for beginners. This is a rear end project that Billy and I are doing on his Chevrolet truck. We're redoing the front differential, re-gearing it to 513. If you recall, we did the rear end some time ago. This shows the differential upside down on the workbench. The large yellow arrow is the black grease seal for the left front axle. The small red arrow is the drain plug for the grease, and the small yellow arrow is the fill plug for the rear end grease. This photo shows the right axle housing an axle assembly with a solenoid that engages a sleeve, which is shown by the large red arrow. This sleeve slides over the gear shown by the large yellow arrow, locking the two axle parts together. The small red arrow to the left shows the part of the shaft that actually goes into the IFS, and the small red arrow on the right shows the right axle flange that bolts to the right axle. The solenoid that engages it is at the bottom of the shaft assembly. This is the underside of Billy's truck. The large red arrow shows the oil pan of the engine, and you can see the dark blue oil filter just to the right of that. The small yellow arrow shows the right axle flange. This gear assembly is called the carrier gear assembly, and it has the ring gear, which is the large gear you see in the center. The small gears just to the lower right of the big gear are called spider gears, and they enable you to go around a sharp curve without the wheels dragging. It lets one wheel go faster than the other. If it weren't for the spider gears, one wheel would have to slide. The carrier bearings are on both sides, the left and the right. Limited slip rear ends have clutch assemblies that are built into this carrier assembly that enables one axle to actually turn through a series of clutches without locking up solid. This is showing the right side of the differential case. This is shown upside down in this photo. The large red arrow shows the bearing race, and behind it is a plate that lets you adjust the carrier bearing. The small yellow arrow shows the axle bearing for the right hand side. This photo shows the left side of the case is seen from the driver's position. It's shown upside down here. Red arrow shows the old pinion gear. This, of course, shows the front end of Billy's truck. This photo shows the new pinion with one of the pinion bearings pressed on. The small yellow arrow shows that. Then the large red arrow shows where the last bearing, the outside pinion bearing, will go. And then the large yellow arrow shows where the yoke will bolt on that goes to the drive shaft. This pinion has 8 teeth, and the ring gear has 41, which gives you a final ratio. When you divide 8 into 41, gives you a final drive ratio of 513. This photo shows the differential assembly as it would be bolted into the truck, the right side being the front. The large red arrow shows the place where the axle housing will bolt for the right hand side. The large yellow arrow shows the yoke that bolts to the drive shaft, and the small yellow arrow shows the adjusting nut for the right carrier bearing race. This photo shows the differential assembly as it would be bolted into the vehicle as seen from the driver's position. The two large arrows show the mounting bushings for this differential. The small red arrow shows the vent tube. The vent tube vents the differential assembly. The large yellow arrow shows where the left-hand grease seal will go for the axle, and the small yellow arrow shows the left-hand axle bearing. This shows the gear contact pattern for the drive side of the tooth. Here's another view of an almost perfect tooth pattern. It's perfectly centered on the tooth. This shows the tooth pattern for the coast side of the tooth, almost perfect. Again, the dry side. This is shown using white marking compound. This is a top view of the ring gear showing the coast side. The left arrow shows teeth that are painted solid with gear marking compound, which is usually white lead and linseed oil. You paint about 8 teeth solid in order to get a good pattern. When you turn the ring and pinion with a slight load applied with a screwdriver, it'll leave a tooth pattern all across the entire ring gear, which you can read and see your tooth contact. And this is a view inside the case of the ring gear. And here's another photo of the inside of the case showing the ring gear.